Epcot's festivals are a major reason to visit Walt Disney World, and even though I'm relatively new to festivals, I only went to my first one in 2016, I plan most of my trips around the festivals nowadays. In fact, Shane and I actually had planned our 2020 trip for May so that we could enjoy Flower and Garden again, but due to the closure, we had to reschedule our trip. We chose to reschedule for September for a couple of reasons, but honestly, food and wine was a pretty big reason. And it got me thinking and comparing the two festivals, Flower and Garden, food and wine. Which one's better? I know in my heart of hearts which one's better. But I figure I would share my thoughts with you guys, see what you have to say about them, and let's just chat festivals. So both Flower and Garden Festival and Food and Wine Festival have a lot to offer and make Epcot an incredibly popular park, especially with adults around these times. Instead of talking all about Flower and Garden and then all about Food and Wine, I'll try and do a side-by-side comparison because there are some things that are really obviously paralleled that are easy to compare between the two, and then other things I just don't see one of them having, and one of them does. So let's start out. Obviously, I think the biggest thing with Epcot festivals are the food booths. So as you'll walk around Epcot, there are all kinds of restaurants and places to eat, but when there's a festival going on, there are these semi-permanent booths set up everywhere. They're everywhere. And they're festival exclusive. Some of them come back year after year. Some of them have been there since the beginning of these festivals, and they usually have a theme to them. So for Food and Wine Festival, these food booths are themed around a location or a cuisine. So for example, in the Japan Pavilion in World Showcase, you already have Katsura Grill and a couple of sit-down restaurants, but you'll also get a Food and Wine Festival booth that has festival exclusive snacks and drinks. Or maybe over in Future World, which I know it's not going to be called that for much longer, I'm not going to get used to that, they'll have like a pit barbecue themed food booth where everything is barbecue flavored, and oh my god. Flower and Garden also has these food booths, and they're themed more around like specific ingredients or plants or something like that, which is appropriate, They really focus on like fresh ingredients or one ingredient. Like one of the booths is called Pineapple Promenade and everything is pineapple based. Or there's the Honey Bistro and it's all using honey as an ingredient. And usually these booths can be found near a garden that grows that ingredient. So the Honey Bistro will be next to a pollinator garden and have a couple little signs of information about bees and butterflies and things like that. So I was curious as to how many booths are actually added for the festival. So I went over to Disney Food Blog and pulled up their festival menus because they have all the menus up for all of the booths, and I kind of just counted. Flower and Garden has 17 additional food booths, if I counted right. And Food and Wine, honestly, I lost count at 30. Because some of them are just regular food stands that are already there, but I tried to include only the ones that are added during the festival. So Food and Wine Festival obviously focused a lot more on food. There's just honestly too many booths to choose from. Like there's no way that you're going to be able to try all of this food. But that's true for any Walt Disney World vacation, to be honest. So you unless you're a local, you really have to pick and choose and plan ahead of time what you want to try from the festivals, because there is a lot of food. Something else that both of these festivals offer is a concert series. For the duration of the festival, Disney will bring in live bands for you to watch at the America Gardens Theater. Honestly, some of these are really big bands. Like I always see Plain White T's on there and I'm thinking, man, I would have paid a lot of money to see them in concert, but they come to Epcot and they'll perform for free. And that goes on throughout the entire festival. So it's kind of just a luck of the draw of who will be there when you're there, or you can plan your trip around who's going to be there. I don't think there's really much differences about these two concert series except for the name. For Flower and Garden, it's Garden Rocks concert series. For Food and Wine, it's Eat to the Beat concert series. But I think a lot of them have the same bands that play. And it's totally free. It's right in the middle of the World Showcase. You can just walk right up, listen to these bands. You can try and get a seat, but they fill up really fast. There's also a dinner package that you can purchase for the Eat to the Beat and Garden Rocks concert series. A fun little thing that Epcot adds during the festivals is a scavenger hunt. So for Flower and Garden Festival, they'll have these painted eggs hidden throughout World Showcase. And you can pick up a scavenger hunt map if you want, or you can just kind of keep your eyes open. Food and Wine Festival, they have these are so cute, little Remy statues from Ratatouille. And he's got little pieces of food, and he's usually around like a food booth in the World Showcase pavilions. And for those scavenger hunts, you can choose to buy the map, where you I think add a little sticker every time you find one. And when you're finished, you can bring it back to where you bought it, show them that you completed it, and you get a little prize, usually like a cup or something. So it's really cute. You don't have to pay for the map to do it. You can literally just walk around and look for them. That's what I do. It's a nice little addition to the theming and just as a free activity that you can do. Speaking of theming, while Food and Wine focuses all around those food booths, Flower and Garden is a little more obvious. There are flowers and topiaries and gardens absolutely everywhere around Epcot. And listen, Epcot is a beautiful park on its own, but when you add in Flower and Garden and you've got character topiaries everywhere, and there's floating flowers on the little lake. Oh no, I don't know what that little lake is called. It's not really a lake. Whatever it is. Oh my gosh, you can't miss it when it's Flower and Garden, because Epcot becomes incredibly colorful and so beautiful. The topiaries are so fun to walk around and see them all, take your picture with them. They offer amazing photography opportunities if you're a photographer. And honestly, the topiaries and the gardens are the reason that Flower and Garden is my favorite Epcot festival. I kind of wasn't going to reveal that until the end, but I'm a little biased. I love Flower and Garden, and I'm so disappointed I can't go this year. Anyway, Food and Wine Festival, while it's great, it's just missing that extra oomph. Like, Flower and Garden has that really obvious theming everywhere. There's flowers everywhere. And Food and Wine just doesn't have that extra thing. And even for the Arts Festival, and I know we're not talking that, but even for that festival, they've added throughout World Showcase Pavilion basically stickers on the walls in different countries. So you can find like Pascal in Germany and Timon and Pumbaa in the Outpost. Food and Wine just doesn't have that extra theming, and I really wish they would do something more. But then again, I don't know what they could do. Okay, so there are tours that you can go on in Epcot when there's no festivals going on. But at Flower and Garden Festival, there are actually 2 new tours that are added just during the festival. They offer the Royal Tea Garden tour in the United Kingdom Pavilion, and they also offer Gardens of the World around the whole World Showcase. So that's 2 new tours added just for Flower and Garden Festival. I couldn't find any tours that were Food and Wine specific. There might be something out there that I couldn't find, but that's 2 Flower and Garden, 0 Food and Wine. And while we're talking so highly about Flower and Garden, let me mention another really big feature that's offered, the Butterfly Garden. They have a temporary pop-up butterfly garden at Flower and Garden Festival that you can just walk through as much as you want. It's beautiful in there. There's butterflies everywhere. I think you can even pay $1 to get like a little sugar water cups to try and get butterflies to land on you and feed them. There are butterfly conservatories all over the country, but this one's included with Flower and Garden. And yeah, it's a little small, but it's so cute and it's beautiful in there. There's a ton of information posted about butterflies so that you can learn and teach your kids if you've got kids with you. That's another one of my favorite things about Flower and Garden Festival is that butterfly garden. Food and Wine Festival does not have a butterfly garden, as they shouldn't. We're not eating butterflies, but that's just like, it's just another thing that Flower and Garden has that Food and Wine doesn't really have anything comparable. So that's all I gotta say about that. And finally, the last thing that festivals have to offer are the learning opportunities. I've kind of touched on it with Flower and Garden, how there's signs posted in the gardens and the butterfly garden. You can learn about the different types of plants, vegetables, flowers, different farming methods. It's kind of like a giant living with the land. It's just awesome. You can really learn something around every corner of the Flower and Garden Festival, and I really like that. I think that's very Epcot, It's like classic Epcot was trying to be more educational, and I know that's not the thing nowadays, but it's still nice to have to have that aspect to it. Now, as far as I know, I couldn't find any seminars or classes you can take during Flower and Garden Festival. I would like to see like a gardening class, and I couldn't find it. I don't know if that's something that they really offer, but it's just not obvious to me. But Food and Wine does beat Flower and Garden out for classes. They have seminars that you can listen in on, or they have paid classes you can take. You can do wine tastings, cheese tastings, food and beverage pairings. You can listen to celebrity chefs. Like, there's a lot going on for Food and Wine Festival as far as cooking classes, basically. As for learning opportunities, I think Food and Wine Festival is more hands-on, and you have to kind of be proactive about learning. Whereas Flower and Garden, you can kind of just be moseying, read a sign here and there, and it's a lot more passive. I think that's pretty much everything about those festivals for the purposes of this video. To me, Flower and Garden is an obvious winner. Like, I would always choose Flower and Garden over Food and Wine because Food and Wine is very food-based and you just can't try all the food. Flower and Garden there's a lot of added extra food, but there's just so much more than just food. They both have that concert series, they both have a little scavenger hunt, they both have a little bit of learning opportunities, but that Flower and Garden, I mean, it's just the extra theming. They've got available tours, they've got topiaries and flowers and gardens everywhere, and they've got that butterfly garden. Food and Wine just falls a little bit short for being the most popular festival, I think, among the adult community at least. I don't drink too much while I'm at Disney because it's just too hot. I don't like to be miserable on my vacations, and I get really dehydrated if I drink, so drinking around the world is hard. I'm still gonna try it and then be miserable. But generally I don't. So let me know between these two festivals, which one is your favorite? Is there something that I missed? Is there a tour that happens for Food and Wine Festival? Are there classes at Flower and Garden Festival that I don't know about? Have you been to either of these festivals, or were you thinking about going to either of these festivals, or do you have any questions about either of these festivals? Let me know in the comments, you guys. I'm really excited to go to Disney World again in September, I think that's when we're shooting for. And we'll see Food and Wine, but unfortunately we did have to reschedule from Flower and Garden, so I'm a little sour. That's all. Thank you so much for watching. Tap your magic band to that like button, and please consider subscribing if you like Disney World videos like this one. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.